G'day guys, welcome to Call an Expert segment here. We have Handzy on the line, who I consider one of the best players in the world at Men of War AS at the moment, and it'll be very, very interesting to see his insight on the current top 8 and on the players and what he actually thinks of the current top 8 and if that's what he expected of the top 8. So did you expect these players in the top 8, Handzy?
G'day everyone, and no, at the very start of the tournament, I expected, say, the likes of Shotter, who is on the bottom, I can see, and Van Camel and Constantini to be definitely penciled in to that top 8, but unfortunately they pulled out due to either personal reasons or not being able to play. I also thought Rebounds would be a little bit higher, but he pulled out earlier on as well. And I don't think there's really anyone outside the top 8, obviously, except
yourself,
for
Handzy.
Aussie Gold and myself, but I don't know if I would have made it or not, but no, I definitely would have expected Aussie Gold to be in there. I'm pretty sure he would have been one of the dark horses coming into the tournament as well.
Indeed. That's right, I would have considered Aussie Gold definitely one of the dark horses into this, and we're missing Constantini as well, who's the runner-up of the Anzac Male Tournament number 2, Van Camel, a really good player from Germany, and Schotter as well. So if it was myself, I would definitely fear Schotter and Van Camel if they were in the finals. If you made it to the finals, who would you actually watch out for if you were, let's say, in the top 8?
Well, obviously, besides yourself and Staker, the two obvious ones to look out for. But I'd probably also look out for Rochford and Godwin. I think they can be danger games, and also Little Chinito. Really, anyone inside the top 8 can throw up if they are on their best game. They can really throw up anything. They could even take out the thing if they do have their best games against the better players. They could definitely, everyone in the top 8, I believe, has the even chance of taking it out. So I would have been pretty scared against everyone in there at the moment.
Indeed, definitely. I think the top 8 is a pretty good one. It's a mixture of skilled and, I guess, active players. But in regards to that, a lot of these players in the top 8 have improved a lot before while playing in the tournament. Who do you think is the most improved player, I guess, in the top 8?
My most improved inside the top 8 would probably be Volcano, actually, who just slipped into 8th and took over Takis not too many days ago. Yeah, Volcano has improved out of sight through this tournament. He used to be just a guy who used to just rock up to the Anzac games and just kind of go through the motions kind of thing and just be a part of it, but now he's actually pretty good force in the team games, and obviously he's improved his 1v1 skill out of sight to scrape into the last position in the top 8 of the international tournament.
Most definitely, Loncano, I think, is in a good. He could possibly upset some of these players. I would say he's the dark horse of the top 8, in my opinion. He's actually drawed 3 times versus the top 8 and lost 3 times. So, but he hasn't actually won any versus the guys in the top 8. Who did he draw against? He drawed against Greek, so even the mighty Greek has drawed Loncano, and he drawed against Rochford, so the winner of the Anzac Male Tournament number 1. And he also drew against Little Chinito. Little Chinito as well, I think, is one of the, I guess, guys to watch out for improvement-wise, and also Boogeyman, who really has taken into this tournament with such vigour. In terms, I'll go through the individual players, I guess, to see what your strategies are to fight them and what you think. So I'll go through Boogie first. So if you're fighting against Boogie, what would you expect, and what would your general strategy be versus Boogie?
Well, Boogie is a very solid player. You don't always know what to expect. He thinks on his feet brilliantly. I think Boogeyman is probably the best player for thinking on his feet and creating ideas out of nothing. Like, Boogeyman is a very, very inventive player. He might not be the greatest skilled, as in micro and stuff like that, but his ability to work his way through situations with ease is pretty much second to none, really. And I'd probably be going, I don't know, mass infantry like I usually play probably wouldn't work against Boogeyman sometimes, and sometimes it would, so I don't really know. You can go with a variety of strategies. I guess you could go the light vehicle rush, which is usually a favourite in 1v1, but I'd probably feel myself a lot more comfortable using mass infantry against the Boogeyman, and that is probably the tactic that I'd suggest to anyone out there who wants to beat him in the top 8.
Mass inventory. Interesting. I do agree with you on that point. Boogeyman is a very great, I guess, a player that can think, and he analyzes his game on his channel. I've been watching his channel. He analyzes all his games so well. He knows that he's doing some wrong things, but the problem with him is, I guess, is the micro being able to execute it. But he knows what's right or wrong. You probably don't know the draw yet, but basically Boogie is playing Staker in the first round. What do you see the chances of that, of Boogie's chances in that first round match?
Well, it depends. If Boogie brings his best game, he can definitely take out Staker. That's what I was saying before. If anyone brings their best game, they can take out anyone in the top 8, really. That's just how good this top 8 is. But no, I'd back Boogie against Staker. I'd say Staker is a favourite. I'd say he's probably a very strong favourite as well. But I think Boogie does have the ability to take out Staker in the first round, definitely.
Indeed, he does. Okay, we'll go on to the next play, to Staker, in fact, while we're on Staker. Staker's run in the tournament has been pretty good, especially versus the top 8. He's actually won 6 games and lost only 1 game versus myself in the top 8, so a very, very good run so far. Does that guy have any weaknesses, and how would you go about fighting Mr. Staker there?
Well, as you'd probably know, Staker and I have had many interesting 1v1 clashes. I'm pretty sure it's 2-2 between myself and him.
Very good
We've had some very, very, very good matches that are 1v1s. I'm pretty sure he beat me as well, 2-1 in that best of 3, so that was well played there to Staker. But I don't know, if he's Germany, he's going to assault squad spam. He's going to sit on that timer more than Taka Saka sits on the MG34 timer or MG42 timer, I'm pretty sure it is. I can't remember my numbers. And probably sit more on the shotgun timer than myself. But he's a very mass infantry, a swarming player, pushes in groups other than, say, single. But then again, in those groups, he has brilliant micro that can just back up those groups. So he can, like, flank around the whole corner with an assault squad, but will have the micro to throw multiple grenades out of that assault squad at once, where you can only have maybe 2 or 3 soldiers trying to throw back grenades, but he will have, like, say, 5 or 6 out of that group actually throwing the grenades. He's a very, very good player micro-wise, and also with his tanks, he's usually a very, very good user of his vehicles and stuff like that. So Staker is a pretty formidable unit in this top 8.
How would you beat him, though? What's your strategy versus Staker?
Well, you could light vehicles probably to try and get away with the infantry, but there's just so much of it. It's just, I don't know. I think the only way to beat Staker is to probably try and beat him in his own game, and that's very, very hard to do. You can go with the light vehicles and stuff like that, but you can guarantee there's going to be another light vehicle to counter yours. It's going to be a higher class and stuff like that because of just the constant assault squad spam that he brings out. So he's buying the lower infantry than, say, the paratroopers and stuff like that.
Indeed. Yeah, with I'm not sure what my strategy is going to be like. It's basically going to try to survive Staker's wave of infantry and grenades and try to end up, I guess, on the top of that at the end of it and outbuy him. Eventually I'll outbuy him, I believe, in, I guess, purchases, because he does usually just spam the infantry, and if he can survive the first wave, I think you'll be quite decent. Funny thing with Staker, his hardest match, I guess, other than the one versus myself, was with Greek. Greek nearly defeated him in that 1 versus 1, so maybe the light vehicle rushes might work versus Staker with some luck.
Indeed, indeed.
Okay, so next one is Greek here. So Greek had a bit of a up and down situation here. Hasn't played much of late. He's got a bit of a back problem, so hopefully he's in form, but he's won 3 games, drawn 2 games, and lost 2 games in the top 8, so pretty much an even, I guess, win-draw-loss ratio versus the top 8 here. So versus Greek, how do you think his chances are, and how would he win, and how would you fight him?
Well, I'm tipping that I'll probably be one of Greek's sparring partners, or maybe just Greek's sparring partner when he comes back from his back injury that he can't play Men of War at the moment, but I'm pretty sure I'll be helping him out, getting him into form so he can play against the top tier players. But usually against Greek, I go heavily on the AT men. Yes, they aren't always a 100% counter to the light vehicle rush, and you keep telling me this, and you keep telling me every time I miss a bazooka and I rage because a bazooka misses, you keep telling me that it's not 100%. I just tell you to be quiet, and I'll just play the way I want to. But no, usually with Greek you can obviously expect a lot of light vehicle spams, and also I've noticed through the 1v1 tournament, Greek has improved his micro pretty damn brilliantly throughout this tournament as well. I remember in the game that I played him, he was definitely microing me off a few points on the farmland map that I think I played him on. So Greek, very, very formidable opponent, but he's always, he's always going to go with a lot of light vehicles, so probably light AT guns and definitely a bazooka man or 2 around a corner should have you safe against Greek.
Indeed, that's right. Definitely the light anti-tank guns, bazookas around corners. He's even though he has playing smarter of late, he's still a suicidal, I guess, aggressive player. So next one is Godwin. So Godwin is from the UK, and he has, I guess, let's see, what is his ratio here? He's pretty much hasn't won any games versus the top 8, draw 2 games and lost 3. What do you think Godwin's chances are? His first round opponent is Rochford. In fact, should be a very, very good game in my opinion. How do you think he'll go, and how would you defeat Godwin?
Well, I actually played against Godwin today in a 4v4. I played with some other friends, and Godwin is a brilliant player, and in team games he's obviously all over the place, but this is obviously a 1v1. His micro is very good, his tank play is very good, he's a very solid all-round player, is Godwin, so I don't know. I think I'd just play my regular game of obviously trying to just micro people out of points and stuff like that. I believe my micro would be stronger than Goodwin's, but once again, I wouldn't underestimate it. And he's probably my dark horse for the tournament as well, as he's a very, very underrated player, I think, maybe coming to this tournament. I don't think, say, the likes of Greek and Staker and Rochford would probably giving him much attention as they should. They'd probably be focusing on, say, yourself and the Boogeyman. But no, I think Godwin is a very, very solid player. And I would probably just go for mass infantry against Goblin. That's probably the way I'd try and get through him.
Indeed, so you just try to out-macro him, I suppose, and because he's a bit of a macro player, I believe, you just try to, I guess, out-macro him infantry, I guess. So, Rochford here. So Rochford, the winner of the Anzac Mail tournament number 2 here. So his run of the tournament so far has been 3 wins versus the top 8, 1 draw, and 1 loss, so it's pretty damn good stats there versus the top 8 here. I think, who did he win against? So he won against Greek, he won against the Boogeyman, and won against Godwin. So how would you defeat Rochford?
Well, I definitely would not buy a tank against Rochford. I can promise you I would try and keep the game as low tier as I could, because my tank plays horrible, and Rochford is probably one of, if not the best tank user in the world, probably on par with yourself, I'd guess. But no, he's a very good player with vehicles, and if he's playing as the UK and for some reason buys a Firefly in a 1v1, watch out, because he's deadly accurate and deadly amazing with those things. But no, I would try and keep the game as low tier as possible, like letting the biggest vehicle out. Say if he was Germany, it'd be like a Panzer III or a Panzer H. Like, I really would not let it past anything, like let him get anything big, because he'll just cut me to pieces. Even though with those lighter tanks he'd still be brilliant anyway. So yeah, I would definitely be spamming out the infantry and trying to keep the game as low tier as possible. By that I mean keeping on high pressure so he can't bank enough MP for tanks.
Indeed, so basically try to, I guess, avoid his tanks at all costs. So little Chinito here, from the USA here, his run of the top 8 so far hasn't been too good, hasn't won a game. He's got 4 draws, so pretty much a draw king here, and 3 losses here. How do you think he's going to fare in this tournament, and how would you defeat him yourself?
Well, little Chinito and I have played many 1v1s, or we used to play many 1v1s against each other, and I used to beat him by just being able to micro him off the points in the early stages. Little Chinito is a very confidence-based player as well. You'll see if he wins that first engagement, he's going to be pretty damn hard to stop, and you probably saw that against the lower tier of players in this tournament. But against the higher tier players, say against yourself and Greek and Staker and Rochford and Godwin, I guess you could micro him off the point early on, throw those grenades, and kind of repel his initial attack. He'd probably lose a little bit of confidence and maybe fall off a little bit. He's a very, very confidence-conscious player, as I said, I think 3 times now. And yes, I would probably go all-out micro to try and beat little Chinito, that's for sure.
Okay, so a great opening start versus Little should seal the deal and put him in the coffin. So there you go, guys, and that's a good tip for myself, as I'd be playing him in the first round. So next one is Loncano from Australia, a very newish player, I guess, but a very talented one. How do you think he'll fare, and what is your strategy for fighting Loncano?
Well, I don't think Loncano will win the tournament, even though I said anyone in the top 8 can, and he can. It's a chance. It's definitely a probability, but it's a very, very low probability. If he brings his A game, he could take on anyone, but Yes, how I would take him out, I don't really know. I've never really played against Volcano. I think I've seen him play maybe 3, maybe 4 times. I've never been like directly against him in a 1v1, even though he's been asking me a lot. And I'm sorry for not playing against you, but you made the top 8 anyway, so kudos to you. And yeah, I'd probably just play my natural game, which is once again mass infantry, and probably just try and out micro him, because I don't know if his micro will be up to the elite levels of, say, yourself and Staker, and probably Greek as well. Oh, and definitely Godwin as well has some very, very good micro. So yeah, I'd probably go just trying to micro him out of the game very, very early on with grenades.
General outplaying Loncano, so there you go. Thanks, Handzy, for your time and your analysis. Before you go, I'd just like to ask you, who do you think is going to win this tournament?
Well, I'm going to try and stay away from the elephant in the room, which is yourself. But I'm going to back Greek. Yeah, you know, yeah, I'm going to go with Greek. I know he's got a back
I've got another
injury.
question coming up, though, that maybe the answer that you wanted. Who do you want to win?
Oh, I definitely want Greek to win. It'd be funny if Greek won. Just to constantly hear him say that, no, I beat Strat and all you guys in the tournament. That'd be brilliant. I'd love to see Greek win. But I guess it probably wouldn't be good for the Australian community if Greek won. So I'd probably say, you know what, I wouldn't mind Godwin winning, because that is my biggest dark horse. That is my legitimate dark horse, somebody that probably isn't expected to take out the tournament that can. So I'd go for Godwin. That's who I'd like to see to win.
Definitely. If I wasn't playing this tournament myself, I would definitely go for Godwin. He's a very good guy and a bit of an underdog as well. I'd probably also go for Greek as well, because he's definitely someone who, I guess, tries hard. He really wants to win. He's got the passion for it, but just sometimes gets too nervous before the games. So definitely want him to win. So thanks for your time, Handzy. I know you have to go very soon. So thanks for your comments, and I guess we'll talk soon.
Yep. See you, mate. Cheers.